Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about some new features for Business Central 2020 Wave 1 release. So if your tenant has been upgraded to the version 16, so then it's the 2020 Wave 1 release. And that release started from April the 1st, and it brings you some new features, and you can have an overview of those new features from this link. So you can see Dynamic 365 Business Central, then you can go to the overview and you can see what's the new and the planned feature. So you can easily get to this page from your Business Central if you click on the question mark, click on help and support, and click on see what capabilities are coming soon. Then it will bring you to that link. Then you can see the general availability of each new features and the public preview of each new features. So today I want to discuss the new features for the over receipt because I think that is an interesting feature. And you can check out that feature from this page, receive more items than ordered. So previously in Business Central, if you order something from the purchase order on the purchase line, you have a quantity. When you receive the goods, you cannot receive more than the quantity on the purchase line. Unless you manually change that quantity, you have to reopen the purchase order and then change that quantity on the purchase line. So for this new release, and it just automated that process. It will automatically change that original quantity for you based on the over receipt code you defined. And that over receipt code will be a limit for how much more percentage you can over receive your goods. Okay, so this over receipt code, you can go to Tell Me, and if you search over receipt, then you can get to the over receipt code. So you can define your code. So I'm using a percentage to define my code. You can do it for whatever way you would like. But I'm using like this one. For this code, I'm defining 20% over receipt. And I give it description, and I define the percentage under the over receipt tolerance percent here. So that's the maximum percentage you can over receive your goods. And also you can set it up as a default, and or you can set up a approval required. Then it will go through the approval workflow you defined for your purchase order. Okay, so so if you define it as a default, if you have multiple over receipt codes, that one you define will be the default one. Okay, so and you can set up on the item card or vendor card, you have this over receipt code. So you can, if you go to the item card, if for a specific item you want to set up a over receipt code, you can go to the inventory fast tab and you have this over receipt code here. So you can select the over receipt code here. And or you can go to your vendor. If for the vendor you always have a over receipt of the goods you order from that vendor, you can set it up on the vendor card. So you go to the receiving tab, go to the receiving fast tab, then you can define the over receipt code here. So since I only have one over receipt code defined, I'm going to select this only one code here. And then for this vendor, and I'm going to create a purchase order for this vendor. Okay, so when I create a purchase order, I'm going to create a new purchase order for this vendor. And then if you remember the vendor number, you can tap in the vendor number. If you remember the name, you can tap in the vendor name from the vendor name field here. And because I'm only receiving my goods, I'm not invoicing my purchase order, so it's not mandatory to enter the vendor invoice number, even it has a red asterisk sign here. Only when I post the invoice, I need that number. So I'm going to select an item on the line. And if you noticed on the line, I have to make this over receipt quantity and over receipt code show up on my line. You can personalize your line to make those two columns show up. Okay, so I place the order for this item, and the original quantity for this item is 10 pieces. And then I'm going to release this order. So when you look at the line and you go to the quantity to receive, it automatically filled in this quantity received as my original quantity order. When you receive the goods, and so right now the purchase order is in the released status. When you receive your goods, then let's say the vendor delivers, because I set up 20%, so I can only receive my goods up to 12. If I enter 13 here, it will not allow me, it will pop up an error message. Okay, let's see, it did give me an error message. It says you cannot enter more than 2 in this quantity to receive, because I defined my over receipt to 20%. I can only receive up to 12. Let's do another test. Let's say I receive 10% more, I receive 11, okay? And you see, well, after just right upon I enter quantity to receive as 11, then the over receipt quantity automatically populated to 1. But this is my over receipt code, so it didn't exceed my 20% over receipt code, right? So, and you should notice your original quantity, order quantity, has automatically updated to 11. You don't need to manually update this quantity anymore, okay? And so now if you want to change, let's say, oh, you counted wrong, then if you actually you did receive 12 instead of 11, in that case you have to change this over receipt quantity to 2. Then you see the quantity to receive automatically updated to 12. But you cannot say this over received quantity is 3, because that will exceed your 20%. The maximum you can do is 2. Oh, but so you noticed when I change this, because my quantity on the line automatically update every time I change this over received quantity. So when I change it to 2, originally it was on the purchase line is 10, and after you change this over received quantity to 2 and quantity to receive updated to 12, and this original quantity updated to 12 as well, right? If you change it again, it just add up. So if you change this over received quantity based on that 12, the changed quantity of 12, then it will add up again. So you have to be very careful when you use this over received quantity because it will keep on adding up. It will be good or bad, right? Depends on how you want to use it. But it will change it when you change this. It will automatically update the quantity to receive and the original quantity. So this is an automation that has been done by this 2020 with 1 release for this feature over receipt. Then you don't need to manually change. You don't need to reopen. You see, right now my purchase order is still under the released status. I do not need to reopen my purchase order, then change the quantity on the line. Originally, before this feature has been released, then in order to change the quantity, you have to reopen the purchase order. Then you have to change this quantity. And then you have to release again and to receive the quantity. So now it just automated the process. So you can change it on the line. You don't need to reopen the purchase order. You can just change the over receipt quantity, or you can change the quantity to receive to update it. So no matter which one you change, it will update the other one. Okay, so maybe it's better for you to test it out by yourself, to play around with this new feature. This is a feature I think I like a lot, so that's why I share with you guys. I will share some other Business Central new features from this 2020 with 1 release later on. I may have a series of YouTube video to share different new features. So this is just a short video to share this feature for over receipt for your purchase order. I hope it's helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope to see you guys again next time.